the Sahabas who had their own Musahaf of the Quran. And the best known among them were Ibn Mas'ud radallahu anhu, Ubay ibn Ka'b, and Zayd ibn Sabit. They had their own personal copies of the Quran while they were writing for others too. Uh, Here is a list of 23 Sahabas who had a personal copy of the Quran. Now, when you put it in this context, remember this time the writing and materials were difficult to obtain. So this is a huge list. I mean, this is a huge undertaking that's being done. So the Mus'haf was being written during the time of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and inherited by all these Sahabas. Now, during the time of Usman radiallahu anhu, certain, because Islam spread to Central Asia, far reaches, certain disputes started. We know the stories, the narrations on that. So this is what Usman radiallahu anhu did. Usman radiallahu anhu borrowed the first suhuf from Hafsa radiallahu anhu. He ordered the Zayd ibn Sabit again to collect this, use his former stipulations, collect again all the copies of the Quran, and he ordered 4 companions to assist him, because by this time, this is a huge undertaking, and they came up with different a number of copies of the Quran. We'll go into that there. And then he dispatched these copies to all the main centers of the Muslim world at that time. He also kept one of the copies for himself. One was the Medina copy and one for himself. So that means he kept 2 copies in Medina. So, no copy was sent forth without a qari. That, again, we come back to the point. Written message is not sufficient. We went through the examples. I know the knife. Shakespeare will not understand. Why? Because that's how, and we now say, I know the knife. Okay? So the qari has to go. So these are the 4 people who were dispatched with the official copies of Usman radiallahu anhu. So how many copies were made? Some say 5, but that excludes the copy that Usman radiallahu anhu kept for personal purposes. Professor Shauks believes there were 8. There's evidences that other copies were also made, like Sahabas requested personal copies of the copy, not their own copy, but the standard copy. They wanted a copy of that copy. So there were multiple copies. So we will go through, inshallah, now what happened to the copies of Usman radiallahu anhu. So let's talk about the one that went to Damascus. So the one that went to Damascus, in 236, Al-Kindi said he saw it, probably destroyed in fire or war. Ibn Battuta says in 779, I'm giving you the dates here, very important, he saw copies of the Quran in Granada, Marrakesh, Basra, and other cities in his travels. Ibn Kasir says 774 he saw the physical copy that was Usman radiallahu anhu sent to Damascus. And then this copy, there's a very interesting, I will not go into that right now, but later on, what happened after that to this copy. I'll narrate it later on. Actually, I should have, is it here? Yeah. So what happened to the one that was sent to Egypt? So there's a copy in the Masjid of Al Hussein in Cairo. It's written in the old style, in the Kufic style, and Ahmad von Dethner, who has written in the book Ulum al-Quran, he says that copy is most probably written 58 years after the departure of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And here is the copy of this Mus'haf. It weighs 80 kilograms.
68 years after Hijrah.
58.
You wrote 68.
Did I say 68? 58. 58.
Where?
Green.
Green.
Okay. So what is 68 before that?
Hijra 68.
80.
80.
Okay.
And 80.
68 Hijra, 58 years after.
Hijri. That's the Christian normal calculation. So, this is the Musaf. It contains 99% of the Quran. It weighs 80 kilograms. Here's a copy. Here's a sample of it showing Surah Maryam and part of Surah Taha. So this
Why
is
99%?
Yeah, exactly. My question was that too. Why do you say 99%?
because some of it was destroyed, was torn apart. I will tell you what happened later on. Some was pulled out of the Quran, out of the binding, and sold to the Europeans.
Mm.
Okay, so they are in the library. In fact, people have done research where they have correlated different manuscripts together. We'll come to that. So this is Surah Maryam and this is Surah Taha. So there's another Quran of Usman at the sorry. So this people have spoken about it. So these are three experts on the Quranic scripts. They believe it to be the Quran of Usman radiallahu anhu, or if not the copy of Usman radiallahu anhu, then it is the copy of the copy. So there's no doubt about that. There's no doubt about it. That it is a copy of the copy, immediate copy. That means it was probably when the copy was sent to Egypt, another copy was made, and that is the copy. So
what happened to the original copy of Usman alayhi salam in which he had blood, of his blood spilled?
Will come.
Okay.
Will come. So other experts disagree. We'll leave it at that. This is the Quran, copy that another copy of Usman radiallahu anhu, that is in the Egyptian National Library. It has Surah Maida there, and
So complete Quran.
well, how many percentage of it is there? Did I write it? No, I didn't write it. So I can tell you later on how much it is. So the history of this manuscript is, and we are coming back to the question that was raised. When a museum was going to be established in Gotha, Saxony, that's pre-Germany, the ruler of that area, Duke of Saxe Ernest II, he endowed Ulrich Jasper, a German physician and explorer with lot of wealth, to go and gather odds and ends, novelties, and he decided to come to Middle East. And he caught Al-As Masjid in Fustat with the intention of purchasing ancient manuscripts of the Quran. But alhamdulillah, he failed. However, his contemporary succeeded, a consular agent in Egypt, and he took 46 folios of the manuscript that was in that masjid back to Paris, which we can see now today in the National Library of France. Still, he didn't give up. 12 folios were somehow smuggled back to Gotha and were presented to the ruler of Gotha. And this is something that scholars, especially of the Quran manuscripts, fail to mention, that the Quranic manuscripts were often stolen by deceit. So the location of this Quran is now in actually 3 different locations. One is in Darul Kutub al-Misriya, one is in Bibliothèque Nationale Paris, and Froschenborn Bibliothèque Gotha, Germany. Very unfortunate. So what happened to the manuscript in Medina? So the manuscript in Medina stayed in Medina, and it was in Medina till 1915, when the First World War started. When the orders were given by the Osmania Khilafah to the Turkish soldiers to abandon Medina because of the imminent British attack, and nobody wanted fighting in Medina, the soldier in charge took this copy back to Istanbul. And then the Turkish authorities in Istanbul gave it as a gift to Germany, and it stayed in Berlin. So on the conclusion of the World War I, the Treaty of Versailles stipulated that this Quran should be returned immediately back to the King of Hijaz in Medina. However, the manuscript was returned from Berlin, but it never reached Medina back. It's still in Istanbul Museum. This copy is now on exhibit at the Topkapi Museum in Istanbul for all to see. So this is the copy here, right here.
Original Medina
Yes.
manuscript.
Yes. So it contains again 99% of the Quran. Why? Because perhaps somebody tore it, or water damage, environment damage is possible. That's what it means. This is the showing Surah Qasas and beginning of Surah Ankabut. Now the Imam manuscript. This is the manuscript that Usman radhiyallahu anhu himself kept, and it said he was shaheed while reading it. So the Umayyad took it to Andalusia, it is said. Then it came to Fez, Morocco, and according to Ibn Battuta, it somehow found its way to Samarkand. So the Samarkand manuscript has interesting story. This may be the Samarkand manuscript, and there are actually two locations. One is the Samarkand, and then one is in Tashkent. So it looks like now we say just one, the Samarkand manuscript. One of these could be the copy that Usman radhiyallahu anhu was personal copy, and it could be that the Damascus copy also came to Samarkand. How did this Damascus copy came to Samarkand? When Tamerlane attacked Damascus and burned it to the ground, he took that copy back to Samarkand, and it stayed there till the time of the Russian invasion, where it was picked up from Samarkand and sent to St. Petersburg in Russia. So here is a story of how that went from Russia to rather I'll talk about it later on. Let's go on here. So in other words, two of the copies of the Quran which were originally prepared in the time of Usman radhiyallahu anhu are still available to us today, and the text and arrangement can be compared by anyone who cares to with any other copy of the Quran, be it in print or handwriting, from any place or period of time. They will be found identical. This is according to Ahmad van Defner, who wrote Ulumul Quran. Now, so far we have been talking about the manuscripts that were by the Usman, the copies of Usman radhiyallahu anhu. So I will come back to the one that the Samarkand manuscript, and I will share with you the how the copy of so I'll just have to do it verbally then. The Samarkand, the researchers, the Soviet researchers went to Samarkand and the surrounding villages. वो corrupted file. I don't know what happened. Pause करें. देखिए मैं pull कर सकता हूँ. The Samarkand manuscript. Soviet researchers, Orientalist researchers, took this copy from Samarkand to St. Petersburg. So how was it returned back to Samarkand? This is the story by Muhammad Hamidullah, which I'll read verbatim so that we can see how it came back to Samarkand. Russian historians suggest that it was sold by the ruler of Samarkand to the Russian commander. The idea is to establish that the Russians had not stolen but had bought the copy. In any case, it remained in St. Petersburg until the end of First World War I. When the communists came to power, many who did not wish to live under the new regime immigrated to different countries. One of them was General Ali Akbar Topchi Bashi, who went to Paris. I had an opportunity, that means Muhammad Hamidullah had an opportunity to meet him. He told me this story. So this is the story that was narrated to Dr. Muhammad Hamidullah by the General Ali Akbar. I was present in St. Petersburg as a senior officer of the army when the Tsar was killed. I sent a commando force to take over the royal palace and seek out Usman's personal copy of the Quran from the royal library. As an army general, I went to the railway station and demanded an engine from the station master. I placed the Quran in the engine compartment and ordered the engine driver to take with an army escort to Turkestan as quickly as possible. Thus the copy reached its destination, Samarkand. A few hours later, the communist commanders got wind of the incident. They sent another engine with an escort to chase the one I had dispatched, but they missed it. Thus, the copy reached Tashkent. So that is the story of the Samarkand manuscript. How it reached St. Petersburg, that's another interesting story, but since it's not really important. The important thing is this, how it went about. So here, so we have been discussing so far the manuscripts of Usman Radallahu. New research, discoveries have brought about have fragments of manuscripts that predate these Usmani manuscripts. So let's look at a few of them. This is the masjid, the masjid in Sana'a. It collapsed, the great masjid, and when it collapsed, the library, the walls, they exposed a lot of buried manuscripts. And when I say lots, it was huge. And this is one copy of this Quran from the 1st century of Hijri. So we are talking about between 20 Hijri to 80 Hijri. That's what we're talking about here. So not even, not 20. We are talking about 20 Hijri to 50 Hijri, 50, 60 Hijri. This particular Quran, the probability that is a manuscript no more than 15 years after the departure of the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It has a 95%, yes, 2 sigma probability of belonging between the first half of the Hijri, 1st century. So this is the copy. You can see the history. So what happened was this particular copy now only has 80 folios. It was, you can see it is spread out all over the world. It's in Sana'a. It's in Sotheby's, the famous auctioneers, Stanford. They have auctioned this several times. Christie has auctioned it. It was sold for £2 million, 2.2 million pounds in 2008, one of the folios. The reason why this happened was because people, researchers and people got wind of it, and all these sacks of manuscripts that were in the location, they were piecemeal by piecemeal sold to the highest bidder all over the world. UNESCO stepped in and tried to prevent that, and you have some of these results. So this copy that you see here, this Quran is written in the first 80 years of Hijri. So that is this is one of the doubts that people had was, the Quran was not written. And there's no difference between this Quran, apart from the script, and today's Quran. It's exactly the same. This is another codex that is in, I'll tell you the location of this in a moment.
So what will carbon dating of all these manuscripts?
Some of them will be possible and some of them will not be possible, depending on the material. And we'll come to that. So this manuscript is now this manuscript was in Amr ibn al-Masjid in Fustat until the end of 18th century, when a member of the French expedition to Egypt, Jean-Joseph Marcel, acquired it. I don't know how he acquired it or he stole it. I don't know. And it was passed to St. Petersburg. That was the time in Russia. That time it was the center of learning in Europe. Another Frenchman acquired some other number of folios which are now present in the National Library in France. It's numbered Arab 328. The manuscript is written in the Qiraat of Ibn Amir, the Syrian. So most probably this is the copy of a copy that Usman radhiyallahu anhu sent to Damascus. It has 98 folios spread all over the world. So you have one in Paris, actually two in Paris, numbered differently. Russia,
So what do you mean folios?
there's one, they are written, this is one page at a time.
Oh, one page is one folio.
Yeah. Vatican City, in the Khalili collection of Islamic art in London. Originally, this Quran would have contained around 210 to 220 folios, meaning the complete Quran. Now we only have 45% of the text. This is one of the oldest Quran manuscript found. It's called Codex BL 2165. And the history of this one is that one Reverend Greville Chester purchased it in Egypt and brought it to the British Museum. It's part of a bigger Quran. This is now which is spread all over different places in the world. It was probably the one time at Amr ibn As Masjid. A part of the folio was acquired by Dar al-Asar al-Islamiyya Kuwait in 79 when it was auctioned. Total number of folios are 128. You can see it's spread all over the world. Right now it has 57% of the total text of the Quran. That is about all that I have for the Quran manuscripts. Any questions you have, feel free, because I'm moving towards the Hadith.
What for carbon dating and all that stuff you said that you're going to talk about?
So where was that one? Where did I miss that one? The carbon dating of this was the Sana manuscript. This is the 95% one. This is the one that we are talking about. It has been carbon dated, and it is the likelihood that this is within 15 years of the departure of Rasulullah is 95%.
What do you mean 95%?
95%. That's the statistical accuracy of the method that whoever is using. So next we come to Hadith. I was going to talk about Isnad, but I am going to skip it. These are new methods by which Isnad, Mustafa Azmi and all these people are analyzing Isnad. Very beautiful method. I will give a presentation separately for Isnad. Now this is the manuscript of Sahifa Hamman ibn Munabbih. Hamman ibn Munabbih is the student of Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. He prepared a book of Hadith, and it was presumed to be lost. We had other authors attributed that he wrote it, but the actual manuscript was never found. So it was assumed that it was lost. And this is one of the ways by which Orientalists and people, modern Muslims got confused that hadiths were written long after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Muhammad Hamidullah discovered 2 copies of this manuscript. One, I'm not sure which one is the Cairo one is the Damascus one, and one in the Berlin library, and he edited it. And what did we find out? it has been exactly reproduced by Musnad of Imam Ahmad and Ibn Kasir's Jami al-Masanid. So, despite the fact that it was presumed lost, if you see the manuscript today, the hadith content and the isnad and the matan match exactly what Imam Ahmad has in his Musnad and what Ibn Kasir has in his Jami. What does it tell us? It tells us that our scholars have done a marvelous job of preserving the message of Islam, the Wahi.
So these asnad, you go back, if you can go back.
Isnad? No, we are not talking about Isnad.
No, what you talking about? What were these lost things? What were lost?
Sahifa ibn Hamman ibn Munabbi. Sahifa.
What is this Sahifa?
His hadith. Hamman ibn Munabbi was a student of Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. So he wrote the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam transmitted by Abu Hurairah. What Abu Hurairah was telling him
Written from
At the time of
at the time of Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu,
after Prophet Sallallahu
after Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hamman ibn Munabbi is a tabi. He's not a sahabi. So Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu had also a written copy, and he transmitted all those hadiths to Hamman ibn Munabbi.
So what about Abu Hurairah's written copies?
That has not been found. So this is his copy basically. This is Abu Hurairah's copy, if we look at it critically. Because if I'm the teacher and you are my student and I'm telling you this thing and you are writing it, basically it's my copy. Either I write it or you write it. No?
But obviously, when you're transmitting it to me, obviously, I'm not going to be 100%.
No, that's not. That's why that's why I talked about Isnad. It's
Yeah.
not. This is the. It has to be. So this is the way it was done. And I was going to touch upon it at the end of this thing, but I will touch upon it right now. The way. Why have all these manuscripts not? Why haven't we heard about these things in our discourses? Because the standard by which manuscripts and knowledge is measured in Islam is different from the way it's measured outside Islam. In Islam, you have to have a sanad
Yeah.
before you can establish anything. So if all those manuscripts that I just showed you, Islamic scholar will reject all of them. Because you cannot establish sahih that this isnad is coming from Usman radhiyallahu anhu.
I don't understand what you're saying.
Okay. You saw the copy of Usman radhiyallahu anhu? Or the Sahifa, the manuscript? We say it's
95%.
Oh, you're talking about Quran now?
yes, I'm
Okay.
talking about the Quran. You saw the copy. We are accepting that this is a copy of Usman radhiyallahu anhu. Right? Just take it, just for argument's sake, let's accept it. According to the standards of Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, and our Islamic fuqaha and alim, it's not acceptable. It doesn't have a sanad.
Yeah.
A continuous sanad back to Usman radhiyallahu anhu. It's broken.
Chain of narrations.
We are piecing it together, right? I'm reading this, Muhammad Ahmadullah is reading that. I'm piecing it together. It has no continuity, contagiousness.
Good.
So according to this
So
one,
whatever you said means nothing.
no. That's the advantage the Orientalists have used to blow our mind up.
You're just saying that, bro.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying this is the trick. So understand the context. Context is this. Okay, let me give you another.
You just brought.
Let me give you
made
an
up a
example.
case,
Let me give you an
brought
example
the
and I'll
case, and the
elaborate.
case what you made up.
Okay, hold
and
on.
you presented all the evidences that Quran is coming from
Yeah.
the sources, and now you're saying it means nothing.
No. He's
So-
piecing the thing to
Okay,
prove the
let
point.
me explain to you something.
But
Are you
when it
aware of
comes-
criminal court and civil court?
Oh,
Yes.
A person can be not guilty in criminal court but guilty in civilian court.